Iowa's News Now Sports has your all-access pass to all things Hawkeyes. This is Eye on the Hawks, sponsored by University of Iowa Healthcare.
November's a really important month for us. You know, that's where everything is decided. But you know, to get the results that we want, we got to take it 1 week at a time and focus and prepare each week like it's our last.
We're just 3 weeks away from the end of the regular season. Welcome into Eye on the Hawks. Looking ahead to this Saturday's game against Rutgers. Joining us this week, former Hawkeye linebacker and current Cedar Rapids Jefferson head coach, Ed Miles. Ed, appreciate you being with us today in the studio.
Nice to be here.
Now, Ed, it wasn't all that long ago that you were playing on the same Hawkeye team. Does this 2023 team look similar to some of the teams that you would have played for in 2005 and 6, or has much changed since your time with the Hawkeyes?
No, pretty much the same. Tough defense. Try to control the ball with the offense, and just a lot gritty. So, yeah, pretty much the same.
I want to ask first off, as you're here, I mean, what is it about this Iowa defense this year? As a defensive-minded guy, what's impressed you so far about what they bring to the table this season?
Just the ability to stop the run, the sure physicality that we play at defense, the guys moving around and flying around the field. Pretty good in the back end and really stout up front.
And we're going to get a little bit more into that in a little bit. Well, named a captain of one of the Hawkeyes from day one of the season, Jay Higgins has put up some incredible numbers in the first 9 games. The senior averages 12.5 tackles a game. He's been named a semifinalist for the Butkus Award given to the nation's best linebacker. And if he keeps at his average, Jay could break Iowa's single-season tackles record, which has been around since 1972.
My dad shows me the list, and as soon as I see the title, I immediately just swipe out of it. I try to stay away. I try to stay away from the list. I mean, it's one of those things where I don't want my focus to be there, and I feel like that'll severely affect my play if I'm more worried about gaining tackles than it is helping the defense get off the field.
He's got a lot of going on, you know, in terms of checks, calls, all those things. Those guys get loaded down pretty good. It's a really tough position. It takes a guy some maturity and a guy who's really invested and works hard, and Jay's all that stuff.
Now, Ed, you would have played the same linebacker position for the Hawkeyes roughly 17 or so years ago. Now, what does Jay bring to this team that has impressed you as a fellow linebacker?
Leadership and a guy that gets the job done. He understands the totality of the game, where the players need to be set up. You see him a lot of times moving those linemen back and forth, trying to create those checks as the chess game is being played with the offense and the quarterback. But yeah, he's everything in which I know that Coach Ferentz and Coach Parker want as a player. Especially a Hawkeye.
Well, no rumors of Jay Higgins moving to offense, but on Saturday at Wrigley Field, we finally got our first glimpse of Cooper DeJean on offense. One of Iowa's most electric players had just 1 carry for 8 yards, and now we wait and see if there's more offensive plays lined up for Cooper over the final few games of this season.
I know now Kennick played both ways. The game was a little bit different back then, and we didn't have the TV timeouts, and games didn't take 6 hours to play. You know, we've got a pretty good thing going defensively right now, so you really worry about, you know, disrupting that.
You know, when you're playing defensive snaps and then you're on special teams as well, it's a little tough. But I was saying earlier, it's really just playing football, and that's something that I love to do. I love to be on the field and doing whatever I can to help this team. So I think that really overrides me being tired or anything like that. It's just the love I have, you know, to be out there.
You know, Ed, could you have done that when you were a Hawkeye, moved your way across the line and played a little bit of offense when you were there?
Yeah, give me some running back carries or maybe the fullbacks.
How difficult is this challenge for Cooper DeJean? That, I mean, so many people have talked about him possibly moving over to play offense. How difficult is that really for a player to be able to try to play not even 2 sides of the ball, but he's a special teams guy too, 3 sides of the ball?
Pretty difficult. You have to understand every aspect of offense and defense and special teams, where things need to be. But like he said himself, he's a football player. And we've all played at some point in time, especially in high school, we played both ways. And the guy that loves to play football, he can make it work. And so Cooper DeJean is a really, really special player. Does a lot for offense and for defense and special teams. So trying to be creative and finding ways to get your playmakers the ball. So I was happy to see him out there last week and hope to see him more.
And those injuries have led to the emergence of another tight end on Iowa's roster, Addison Ostrenga, who began the year as the 4th tight end on the depth chart, but with injuries to Luke Lachey and Eric All, he's now stepped in as the number 1 option, catching his first touchdown pass on Saturday afternoon.
It's just helped a lot that we have leaders on this team like Luke and Eric to help me progress and get better. And it's definitely been a different season, but we're working to improve and get better every day.
There's nothing he doesn't like about this whole thing, and it's infectious. It's when he's in the huddle, we're better off with him in there because of the way he operates and the energy that comes out of him, just from being out there. And some guys have that ability. It's just how they're wired. He just happens to be one of those guys, and he's playing good football too.
Ed, this is one of those stories where you feel bad for guys like Luke and Eric going down, but now a kid like Addison gets his opportunity. Do you remember any situations like this, maybe where a guy went down and somebody else had to step up and they did so in a really impressive way?
Sam Brownlee stepped in when I want to say Marcus Simmons. He might have went down with an injury. It was during that same time. But I mean, it was just a testament of guys just going in and they know that they have a job to do and they do it to the best of their abilities. And as long as this game allows you to really stand out in that way of understanding when my opportunity is available or called upon, then I go in and I cash in.
How's your tight end analysis expertise? Can you weigh in on the tight end abilities?
I think Abdul Hajj does a little bit better job than I do, but no, tight end. The position has evolved tremendously throughout the years, and Iowa's been one of the the programs to look upon with putting out really, really good talent, and it shows with the guys we have in the NFL right now.
I mean, just a team effort, and that's really what all you can ask for.
A goal line stand at Wrigley that puts its place in the Hawkeye history books. After the break, we hear more about that legendary push back at the end zone, and we go back in time to a similar series with Ed Miles. That's next on Eye on the Hawks. First and goal at the 2-yard line, then second and goal at the half-yard line, and no points to show for it. 4 straight plays, Iowa pushed the Wildcat offense back. One of the most impressive defensive stands we've ever seen under Phil Parker.
I was ready for any trickery. I was sitting on the edge just waiting for, a rollout or some pass or something, but yeah, they kept trying to pound it in there, and our guys in the interior definitely held it down. So
I'd say the goal line stand is just everything a linebacker dreams of. I mean, just being out there, jumbo personnel, you bring in extra D linemen, you get all those DBs and stuff off the field, and you're just having fun at that point. It's tackle football, backyard football, how you used to play. So really proud of my guys because that's the definition of a team defense right there.
Ed Miles back with us on Eye on the Hawks. Ed, you had an eerily similar situation during your time as a Hawkeye in the Carrier Dome at Syracuse in 2006. What was it, 7 straight plays, something like that, you pushing back in overtime? You have a group chat going with any old teammates, anything like that, where you were talking about that play on Saturday?
No, but we'll bring it up when we're just hanging out with each other whenever we get together. Any reunions or anything like that comes to play. But no, it's that. In a sense, is why you lift weights, is what the weight program, your strength and conditioning program is all about. When we were playing Syracuse, I still remember not once thinking, what if they get in? It was just, all right, next play. And then a couple of calls of pass interference gave them more chances. And in the huddle, we were just saying, hey, guys, we got to do our job. Just do our job. And in those scenarios, everyone needs to do their job, and that's what happened.
Well, Drew Stevens was named the Big Ten Special Teams Player of the Week after drilling that 53-yarder on Saturday. Special teams continues to be Iowa's calling card, and this week Mitch Fick talks to Special Teams Coordinator LeVar Woods about how this unit brings its best week in and week out.
When you've got a guy like Cooper, or even going back to Charlie and Amir, when you've got a guy back there returning kicks and punts that is a game breaker, is there a way to scheme for him to help block different ways? It's not like offense where you just, okay, let's just get him the ball as much as we can. You got to rely on the punter to be kicking the ball in the first place. But how do you best utilize a guy that can change the game with one return?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I mean, like I said, I just walked off the practice field. That's what we just got done doing, is scheming, trying to get the guy the ball, trying to get the ball in his hands, trying to block better for him, and letting him do what he does best. And certainly something we work on each day and each week. It's something we focus on heavily during spring football, and then also during fall camp. So more so the technical aspect of it, and the finer pieces to that, less about the actual scheme put together, but more about the fundamentals of how to block and how to hold someone up so we can spring the returner.
Tell us, as a head coach, if you could put into words how important it is to have special teams and good, a good punter, a good long snapper, a good kicker, guys that can go out there and you can rely on them.
Well, and you need them in the crucial moments, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. And those key plays and key moments, they come into play, and that's when most people just put it to the wayside. But when you really need them, now everybody's on their toes and hoping and wishing that this guy becomes a hero. But no, it's like I bought into special teams by watching a guy like Bob Sanders, who was a starter, right? And if you're an Iowa fan, you know the name Bob Sanders. But seeing how the effort he put in on special teams and the impact that he made, and so it was for me, it was like, if he can do it, and I definitely can do it.
Yeah, they were a team trying to get their footing last year. Now they've got their footing. They're playing outstanding football. It's not a huge surprise.
The Scarlet Knights visit Kinnick for only the second time as a program. Iowa never lost to the oldest team in college football. Curtis Fader breaks down an up-and-coming Big Ten program next on Eye on the Hawks.
They clearly have an identity. Vision of where they're going, what they want to look like and how they want to play. And, bottom line, it's working really well.
Looking at Rutgers could be a little like looking in the mirror for the Hawkeye football team, a team they've never lost to, and a chance to pick up an 8th win this weekend. Curtis Fader takes us inside Iowa's opponent this Saturday.
Earlier in the year, if you heard Rutgers would be the toughest team left in Iowa's home stretch of games, you would start truly asking why I'm employed. But that is the case here. The Scarlet Knights, 6-3, and just gave Ohio State a run for its money. And its biggest strength in spearheading that turnaround is the defense. Rutgers' defense allowing less than 18 points per game while forcing 13 turnovers this season, more than what Iowa's defense has been able to force this year against a slightly tougher slate of opponents thus far. They held the future second overall pick in the NFL draft, Marvin Harrison, to just 25 yards last week. While the Hawkeyes do see a lot of themselves in this Scarlet Knights D, the offense that has struggled mightily this season will have to match the physicality of Rutgers' front to be able to put points on the board.
Right, they don't have Max Llewellyn, but I mean, I know what you're saying. They definitely play tough, and it's going to be kind of the same thing, which is nice. That's what you practice, against all fall camps.
I'd say they've definitely gotten better since last year, and they're like you said, they're physical, they're quick. I think the biggest thing is just going to be out-physicaling them and working every single play.
It wouldn't be a Big Ten contest without the Hawkeyes having a talented running back to keep an eye on. Rutgers junior Kyle Monangai is averaging over 100 yards on the ground per game, along with rushing for 7 touchdowns this season. Monangai is also currently peaking in performance, averaging an impressive 138 yards per game over the last 3 games for the Scarlet Knights, including last week's 159-yard performance against Ohio State. Taking a running back is no abnormal task for this elite Hawkeye defense, but it will be a requirement in order for Iowa to pull out a win on Saturday. Now, managing running backs is something the Hawkeye defense typically eats for breakfast. Only running back to successfully rush for over 100 yards against them this year, Nathan Carter from Michigan State. Now, Iowa is currently in the driver's seat of the Big Ten West, but this week could be crucial for the Hawkeyes to separate themselves from the pack to get to Indianapolis.
Ed Miles back with us on here, Eye on the Hawks. Now, Ed, you predated the Big Ten version of Rutgers by quite a few years. Do you have much input on the Scarlet Knights this season? Have you been able to see very much out of them? You know what they bring to the table?
No, I watched the Ohio State game, and I was the only reason I clicked over and say, why is Ohio State in a struggle with Rutgers? But it's just a testament of the buy-in that those players have bought into what the coach is preaching to them. And I just think for us, in order for us to be successful, you got to have that mode of just do your job.
Well, after the break, we learned the dietary habits of one Hawkeye lineman, and Ed Miles gives some input on a trio of Big Ten games on Saturday. That's after the break on Eye on the Hawks.
I guess it would depend on the day. Like today, I'll probably do like 5,000 or so, but then like the day before the game, I'll probably hit like 8 or 9, and then day of the game, I'll probably do like 10, I bet. And I'll probably eat like 3,000 during the game, 2,000 to 3,000 during the game. You just keep eating. Like, I mean, it's not fun, but you just got to keep eating.
Kids, don't try this at home. That is the dietary plan of Jennings Dunker during game week. Caloric intake reaching 10,000 calories on game day. Ed, take us back to your Hawkeye playing days. What was your diet plan like during the week? Do you even remember back then?
I don't remember. I remember Coach Dorr being ticked off that I wasn't getting enough weight. My metabolism was like super high, and during the season I would lose a lot of weight. I remember being happy to get him off my back of when I weighed 233 for my junior year, and then by the end of the season, before we played Minnesota, I weighed 209.
Really?
And yeah, and they let me hear it on that one. And I wasn't doing it on purpose. I ate as much as I can. No, but don't follow my diet. In my freshman year during the summer, I literally ate nothing but McDonald's. $5 goes a long way with 2 double cheeseburger, McChicken, a small fry, and thanks to being in the football program, you get your drinks for free. So some Gatorades or some milkshakes and stuff like that. So no.
Listen, I spend a lot of time on the road. I know well about making your dollar stretch there at McDonald's. That's going to do it for Eye on the Hawks this week, but we're going to get into our Week 11 game picks first. Game of the week, it's a Big Ten East battle. Third-ranked Michigan's biggest test to date. The Wolverines are 4.5-point favorites in Happy Valley against Penn State for big noon kickoff on Fox 28. Ed, do you think that Michigan stays perfect in this game, or will Penn State give them a good test?
I think Penn State will keep it close for the first 3 quarters, but I think Michigan will pull away in the 4th quarter. If this was a night game and a whiteout, I would definitely go Penn State for the upset.
Michigan still got a lot of turmoil going over there. Just never know quite what you're going to see out of them this week, from week to week, but boy, they've looked impressive so far.
That's true.
The Hawks have Illinois next week, and Illini hosting an Indiana team that just beat Wisconsin. Illinois is 6.5-point favorites. Do the Hoosiers get 2 upsets over West teams in a row? What do you think about this one?
I'm going to go Illinois. I think Bilma will have his guys ready to go. And coming off of that win last week, I'm going to stick with the Illini on this one.
Yeah, they've started to pick things up in the second half of the season, started to look a little bit better. And moving on to the main course, Hawkeyes hosting Rutgers, a program they've never lost to. Only have played 3 times since the Scarlet Knights joined the Big Ten. Rutgers took a lead into halftime against Ohio State last week. Not really a pushover. Ed, I assume you're picking the Hawkeyes to win this one. Do you think it's going to be a close one, or do they pull away late?
Close game.
Yeah.
And all the way through, we just might need a late field goal. But don't be surprised if it's a 2-score game.
Really? Okay.
Don't be surprised if it's a 2-score game.
All right, we'll keep that in mind. Well, that does it for Week 11 of Eye on the Hawks. Scan the QR code on the screen to download, subscribe, and listen to the Eye on the Hawks podcast. We've got a preview podcast up and also have an extended version of the show that you're watching right now. That's ready to download, available wherever you get your podcasts. Every week we're going to be doing a live stream on YouTube reacting to the Iowa game. This week we're on Sunday at noon. Join the stream or send along your questions, and you can follow along at Iowa's News Now on YouTube. We'll send out the link from our Eye on the Hawks Twitter account. And again, we want to thank Ed Miles, who's doing a great job. We love watching you over there at Cedar Rapids Jefferson. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you for
having me. Thanks, and enjoy the game this weekend.